Chiat Day was a brilliant advertising agency that deserves all the credit for the ad. Lee Cloud, Steve Hayden, and the crew there. And they had come up with this idea in 1983, not for Apple, but they were shopping it to their clients because they had the idea, 1984 is coming up, Big Brother, George Orwell. I wonder, and all good advertising agencies have a car company they do stuff for, a soda company, a high-tech company. So they kind of went to each one, and they came to us with some storyboards that showed this rough idea. And I remember Steve just liking, and I liked it immediately. We said, that is great. And it was the first time that a filmmaker, a movie maker, had been hired to make a commercial. In those days, considered dipping way down and becoming very commercially crass. And they hired Ridley Scott. He went over to London, did the filming. I remember Jay Chiat from Chiat Day went over there, and he sequestered himself behind a whole bunch of cardboard boxes during the filming because he was frightened. Because those guys in the ad who looked like they're skinheads, they were. True story. And he said whenever they'd have breaks in the filming, these guys would all go out and get these glue bags, these bags with glue, and they'd be sniffing glue.
Oh my God.
And they were truly scary, scary people.
Oh my God.
So Jay told me afterwards he hid during the filming of this very famous commercial because he was afraid they were going to come and get him. So we get it done, and we just think it's the greatest thing of all time. And it was certainly a generational thing at the time as well. So we're told we need to show it to the board of directors, and Steve's chairman of the board. And I remember very clearly going into the board meeting. We had it on a TV on one of these rolly carts, and we go in and we set it up, and it was Phil Schlein and Mike Markula and Art Rock and Henry Singleton, yes, and Steve and maybe one or two others, and we show it. And now, this is my memory, because I expected them, to just go crazy like we had. Phil Schlein has his head down on the desk, on this big boardroom desk, head down, and he's pounding on the desk, boom, 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 and I think he's got it.
Oh, yeah.
He's with us. That's one vote. And then I think it's Markula turns to Jobs and says, "You really want us to run that?" Nobody said anything. And they're all kind of looking at me, and looking at Steve, and looking at me, and I'm counting the number of shares I had, and the number of shares Steve had. I thought I was finished for sure, and it was such a horrible feeling though, because all of us knew that.
I thought when you came back, it was not
just,
pretty.
but we knew it was the epitome of the greatest ad of all time, and we realized there's such a huge disconnect between our board, who were then just a big bunch of schmucks from our point of view, and us. So the board instructed us if we were going to show it on the Super Bowl, and we purchased a 60-second spot and a 30-second spot, and the board says, with no reservations, you must sell the time. So I go home, go back to my office, I call Chiat Day and say, don't ask me why, we got to sell the time. And I'm probably crying actually. And we got to sell it. And they had about a week to sell it. This is like late December, early January, and there was a deadline. So their New York office is the media buying department, so they got to sell the time. And there's a Friday deadline at 2 o'clock California time, because that's 5 o'clock New York. The week goes by, I don't want to find out what's going on. It's like planning your own funeral. And the time comes, and it's Friday at 2, the phone rings at Chiat Day saying, we were able to sell the 30-second spot. We could not sell the 60-second spot. I think the Times then was like $1 million for the 60 seconds in the store. So we go back, tell Steve that, and Steve talks to the board, and the board says, well then we'll run an Apple II spot. So they went to the vault and looked at them, and there were Apple II TV ads then, but none of them were relevant. So reluctantly, they said, all right, run it.
Wow.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's
unbelievable.
That's part of the fact part. So then they run it, and the great thing about that is that as part of the George Lucas strategy, is we ran it one time for the effect of only running it one time. That's a little gutsy in case you didn't get to see it. You missed it. But then the following night, it was shown on the Super Bowl, the following night on ABC, CBS, and NBC News, and those were the three networks then, it was shown as news. Not as advertising, not as PR, but as Dan Rather and Peter Jennings say, Apple Computer has introduced a new computer called the Macintosh, and they showed this outrageous ad, and they would show the entire ad in its entirety.
Wow.
So
Wow,
then,
free
next
advertising,
board meeting
holy
must be
shit.
3 weeks later, and they summoned the Mac senior team in there, which was Debbie Coleman and me and Bob Belleville and Steve, and was there another one? I forget. We all go into the boardroom, and they stand up and clap. And that was... Right here. Two more questions.
My name is